Welcome to another episode of Sailing Indiana. Last week you saw us lift Indiana out of the water for some much needed repairs. This week we'll talk you through all of the jobs we've had done and are trying to get done before the relaunch. They include changing all the seacocks, getting a new toilet, replacing our stern gland, and re-scraping and anti-fouling our keel after some dubious work by a boatyard contractor leaves us feeling shortchanged. Welcome to our sailing channel, Sailing Indiana. I'm Lauren, and this is Chris. And this is our beautiful home, Indiana. We don't know much about sailing, but for the last 2 years we've jumped feet first into a life on the water. So here's to adventure, here's to sailing around the world, to a life less ordinary, to whatever tomorrow brings. Welcome aboard.
Right, stage one of getting the fuel tank clean is empty the fuel tank of anything that is still in there. Yeah, it's freezing cold as well, so I'm just trying to stay warm. But yeah, so what we've done, if you can see, is instead of just sucking it out of the diesel tank, we are just going to suck it this way instead, which is obviously better because then the pickups for the fuel are right at the bottom, and so you'll make sure you get everything out, which is the better way to do it, which is great. Yeah, so yeah, just rigged up a hose, and then because we're out of the water, we're just using the sea strainer as the exit for the pipe, and underneath there we've got a couple of jerry cans that we're filling up, and that should be it.
To bring you up to speed, we're emptying our diesel tank to fit an inspection hatch to both inspect and clean the tank. You might have seen in a previous episode we suffered a blocked fuel pipe that resulted in a very near disaster. This is us leaving our berth in Plymouth when the engine stalls as we're backing out. Unfortunately, we'd filled the tank when arriving in Plymouth, so now have to find a temporary home for 130 litres of diesel. We got help replacing our old plastic seacocks, as anything below the waterline seems potentially hazardous to have a go at ourselves. These are the old plastic ones, and these are the new ones we'll be getting. Here's Rick cutting away our old stern gland, but that's all we had time for before escaping for a well-earned break. For those of you who don't know, I'm half South African, growing up on the east coast in Durban. I hadn't been back to see my family there in nearly 5 years, so we saved up our pennies, caught a flight to Durban and enjoyed some winter sun over the Christmas holidays.
Arriving at the boat for, well, yeah, after 4 weeks, and yeah, we've got a couple of contractors that we've had to employ as we've been away, and the weather windows were looking very slim. Yeah, we've had to do anti-foul and polishing and things like that. We've had to outsource that stuff, and then also things like the stern gland and seacocks and bits and pieces that, yeah, we just wouldn't have time to do ourselves. Yeah, so as with anything with any contractor, you've got to keep an eye on these people as they're charging you hundreds of pounds. But so things like the keel, like we noticed, we came yesterday, and yeah, it's like there's just bits where it's just flaking off. Yeah, we're not overly happy with the anti-foul and the polished side of it. This side looks pretty nice and shiny, but this side looks a bit like matte and things, and it's kind of one of those things where it sounds a little bit like, oh, what are you complaining about? But we're paying like something like £800 for all of this work, for the anti-foul and the cut and polish on the top sides. So it's really high bill for us anyway, and then to come back and then you've got like paint flaking off the keel, and then you've got like one of the sides, the top sides is just not shiny and it's matte. You think, yeah. Anyway, other than that, yeah, so jobs that have been done while we've been away. Seacocks, so let's have a look at these. So these are the ones coming from the heads. That's the heads there. You've got an inlet for the heads there, and then you've got the sink outlet there. Nice big metal seacocks instead of the plastic ones that we had before. And the P bracket was literally squelching across here. This mastic wasn't in there, the Sikaflex, so that was just squelching and moving back and forth, and now it's sturdy and all sealed up. Had to drill in from the underside. It was glassed in. There's two nuts that go down into this to hold it in place, so they were glassed over. That needed to be cut back, screws tightened up, and then let to breathe, because there was wooden sort of packing in there that it was connected to, and that was all just sodden. So that's been let to breathe, and then we're going to be covering that back over. But actually the cutlass bearing itself, it was actually fine. There's not much or any play in that at all, so that's quite a relief. Yeah, considering, I mean, I think it's probably then the P bracket that was moving and taking all of that vibration from the prop and not affecting the cutlass bearing, so that's good. Moving this around now, and there's not much play in that. The actual whole boat moves when you do that, actually, so I'll stop doing that. But yeah, so that would be another area to check if there's any play movement in that, which there isn't, so yeah, quite happy with that.
I like it perfectly, honestly.
Yeah, there you go. So one day we'll be underwater, stood on the bottom like that in the Bahamas, and then the shark will just swim past here. Anodes, so there's actually a fair bit of meat on this one still. Not this one. But we'll change that now as we're out the water, and there is one that goes on the prop as well, so that's going to get done. Coming through to the other side, so two more seacocks that have been changed. This is for the sink, and that is for a pickup to go into our saltwater tap. But yeah, you can see actually in this light where there's a big sort of matte patch there along this side, all the way along, that's just really should be shiny, but it's just a matte finish in there and there and there, and then you get to the bow and it's nice and shiny, so that's come up. This bit here, that's no good, all of that stuff there, and then the bow, as you see, what it should look like at the very tip. But yeah, so not ideal. Okay, and then this is our existing log, or speedo effectively, and tells us how fast we're going. That's never worked, so I'm wondering now that we've cleaned a load of crap off of this whether it will work. But we have actually got a new Raymarine tri-juicer which can go in place of this, which that's the depth sounder there. So the tri-juicer will have a log on it as well. It will have the depth, and it also does temperature, so we're going to see if we can get that in. It does fit, but it's not deep enough, so we could cut a little bit off the fitting at the top just so it sinks down and is flush with the bottom of the boat. So yeah, something we might do just before we get launched. Be very careful, don't fall. You did it. Right, we've also got a toilet that's there and now not in the heads. And we've also got this, which is our old stern gland. You can see actually in here where the alignment's been out I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera, but this side I'm showing you here, there's no lip there, it just is just flush, whereas this side there's quite a big lip. So that is where the shaft's been sitting down the bottom there, so really out of a line, really not great. And yeah, then the packing has suffered for that, but now we've got a new dripless seal, which should be better. A Lands Drop Deep Sea Drip Seal. That is what we've got now, and it's just going to have a extra seal over it. So this is the actual seal, and there'll be a spare seal, I believe, just behind that, and then this casing will go sort of over the top of everything there, which means then you've got a spare seal sat there, so you can actually change these whilst you're in the water still. So you'll prise out and cut away the old one, water will start coming in, but the new one will be right there, and you'll just push it straight back into place. So yeah, really good design. You can see here, this is just the end of the prop shaft here, it doesn't go all the way in, if you can just see that now. You can see how far out of alignment the engine was, and obviously currently still is. So you've got this big gap on this side, and obviously where this pole's sitting obviously away from it, you'd have to bend the pole all the way back down here to get it anywhere near aligned. So we're a good way off being in alignment, unfortunately. So there's going to be some work going on with the engine just to potentially prop it up and put it on some mounts. All good fun. Here is where the P bracket comes through, and then you can see 2 extra screws been put through there just to support it. That needs just to be reglassed before we take on water. But yeah, I think the wood within that glassing is sodden, so we're just waiting for that hopefully to dry out a little bit as we go. So we've got the toilets arrived, but we're just waiting for the new base, because the base was broken when we got it. Here you can see our new seacocks, 1, 2, 3 here, and also they've been put on little plinths as well, so the hull is pretty thin there, so it's just adding an extra bit of support. And also 2 new seacocks there, and again each on plinths. The hull is a lot thicker on this side because it's near the keel, but again extra support is necessary. Otherwise the boat is looking like an absolute tip. Lauren is not happy.
It's cold as well.
And it's cold.
It's freezing.
So...
And the boat is a tip.
And the boat is a tip.
The boat is a tip.
Sorry.
Is it dinner time now?
Well, let's get priorities straight.
Exactly.
Time left until we splash is now 48 hours? No, less than that now, 36 hours probably, until we get back in the water. So yeah, nothing like leaving things to the last minute.
Oh yeah.
No, it's all being done, it's all fine. So yeah, I guess just a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it? The fittings in all of the holes in the boat have been renewed, and so it's just obviously a worry that everything's fine when it goes back in, which there's no reason it won't be. But yeah, it's just one of those niggles at the back of your mind that the boat is only as safe as the things stopping the water coming in. Done once already.
Yeah, haven't we done once already? Now the professionals are in.
Now we're here to do the rest of the
Just
job.
trying to get any extra bits we think are gonna flake, but I think...
No, it's the worst of it, as you said.
Yeah, I think ours will be here all day as well.
Yeah, we want to try and get 2 coats on if we can, but
Yeah, let's
give it a go.
I reckon we've got it. Should we take the other side?
Yeah.
Come on with me.
To the other side.
This wasn't as bad. This bit was alright actually. All there.
Then actually looking at all this bit just here, look,
Got this bit.
because they have like bubbles there.
Yeah, I know. This is
See
what I was
this
saying
one?
to you before. So if you step out, you can see the little bubbles.
Yeah, so we might just want to do that patch. The rest of that's just watermarks, I think, where it's just been raining and stuff, but that's like definite bubbles. Really, you know, you should just be taking it right back and just layering it up again, but I think we don't have the time or equipment for that, so we're just doing the best we can now before we go in. We've just got less than 24 hours now before we go back in the water, so things are happening.
As per usual.
As per usual, rush job.
The 11th hour.
See what happens.
Hey there.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, yeah, not too bad. Getting there, but we're going to be racing because I think there's more rain coming soon. And we're a bit protected under here, so it's not too bad, but it's just not nice working in the rain.
No, definitely not. So I think we're nearly done with this now. And then I think we're going to paint. Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Get some black paint all over us.
Oh, fun and games.
Bit of this.
Okay.
Okay. One of these.
Try and not flick it all over.
Yeah.
My nice jeans.
Well, you've been warned.
I know. Alright then, ready?
Let's give it a go. Resting on the job. I don't know about that. Hang on a minute.
I'm waiting for it to dry.
You're waiting for the paint to dry so you can do the second coat. This was our poo pipe, basically, going from the heads out of the boat. And the reason we are changing it, I mean, obviously we're changing our heads as well. If you look in here, the pipe is well under half the diameter that it should be, because it's been calcified with God knows what, seawater going off and things like that. And then this end's not so bad, so obviously it tapers off as it goes down. But yeah, no wonder we were having problems flushing the toilet. About time we got that replaced. Boat life. So we've got less than 24 hours before she goes back in the water. So just finishing touches before the big event.